Oh, that is terrible. I forgot to turn on my microphone. You see, it was on and then it was off again for some reason. So thank you for notifying me. Now the microphone's now on. I'll say everything I said before again. I just wanted to mention a few things that are going on this summer at Halkyon, my online philosophy academy. First off, my book on Aristotle has been published via Amazon. It's called Eudaimonia, Human Flourishing and Divine Telos in Aristotle's Ethics. So it's out now as a hardcover, and it will be hardcover only. There will never be an ebook, and there won't be a soft cover either. So this book is out, so you don't need to ask whether there will ever be one. There won't. The book itself is on the Nicomachean Ethics, but not only, also on the anima and the metaphysica. And as the subtitle tells you, delves into how the divine and the human ethos, which is the dwelling ground of man, how they relate and what the task of the human being is in the concentric circles of the cosmos, and what it is that we should retrieve from Aristotle today for our time and the centuries, of course, to come. Yeah. So this is not a scholarly exercise. This is something a bit different. Then I'd like to mention that my colleague, fellow Thomas Chocken, is going to teach a course on the ancient wisdom of health, mostly focusing on Plato and Aristotle. And he's currently filming the lectures. He's recording the lectures out in the woods somewhere where he lives. So the course will invite you not only to think about health, but to begin acting differently, to form certain habits so that you may perhaps sleep better, or perhaps also begin eating a bit differently. And also, of course, you start working out if you don't already do, which is extremely important. It's a very important part, especially if you are intellectually inclined, which brings me to the main event tonight, which is to introduce to you many of the courses that we have at Halkyon. And currently, there is a sale going on. So you get 25% off. Yeah, use this is the coupon code. I'll put it in the chat. 1 second. It's a pretty simple coupon code. You should be able to remember that. It's just Halkyon. So if you type that in, if you use that coupon at the checkout, you take 25% off. This is valid only for a couple of days. So this here, the Intellectual Life course, is one of the most popular, if not the most popular course that we have. You can listen to how I introduce the course here. It's more than 30 videos on how to build a life of the mind in the digital age. And it goes through not only, I'll just show you what. So the leitmotif is, of course, Schelling's learn only in order to create. And there will be many thinkers that will be mentioned here. So you can read this for yourself. Let me just scroll down to the curriculum, which you can see here. So there's a preview for you also to listen to what is the intellectual life. I warn, for example, against reading too much. You can read yourself, as Schopenhauer said, you can read yourself stupid. If you have any questions, by the way, on these courses in general, just let me know. So any enrollment gives you indefinite or lifetime access. So you subscribe once, you become a patron of the work here on this channel, and also you then have access to these videos forevermore. Now, what this course does is it guides you through, and it's been described by people as transformative, and many have worked it through so that they can form the habits and also the way of thinking necessary to build an intellectual life, to build a life of the mind that is focused, not scattered, and that allows you to also just to use language I would not maybe usually use, to have filters in place so that you don't just click through one video after another, but actually that there's some sense and direction to what you do online as you're listening to lectures and podcasts. That one danger of podcasts is, of course, that people, if you've noticed, they all just agree all the time. Now, that's a pretty bad, or actually a good sign for pretty bad conversation. If people always just agree, then that's it feels so fuzzy and warm and nice, but it's ultimately just senselessness. Yeah. So be careful with that. Now, one major aspect is, of course, that leisure should be at the basis of your intellectual life, or scolaire, which is the measure of sufficiency itself, to use the Greek term. I also invite you to think about what the digital world even is. And of course, here I refer to Jean Baudrillard and Plato's cave myth, and also just the digital as such. What is the digital? What is the hyper digital as well? If you are interested in finding, in or even publishing yourself, you need to find a medium that works best with your project or your life project. That's also part of this here. Yeah, and there's a certain Faustian pact with the with social media that you have to make. Don't kid yourself. You are currently watching this either on Twitter or on YouTube. So you are here whether you like it or not. Someone's asking, hi, what's this? Well, this is my course on intellectual life. And if you're just joining now, 25% off. Just use the coupon. Any course on Halkyon, yeah, is 25% off until, well, in a few days we'll end it again. So you have a few days to do it, to sign up. And then, of course, the most important part, perhaps, is the great minds in education. Like, I won't go into details. Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, Meister Eckhart, Nicholas of Cusa, Kant, of course, Wilhelm von Humboldt as well. There's a link to a video that's published somewhere else. Schiller on play, on the play drive. Schelling on creative learning. Nietzsche on active talents. Emerson on self-reliance. Emerson is wonderful. For all of you independent thinkers out there, get a copy of Emerson's, for example, the portable Emerson here, or just any old edition that gathers his essays. Emerson is always wonderful to read. Pierre Hadot, of course, is not to be missed on spiritual exercise. Pierre Hadot, philosophy as a way of life, who reminded us all that philosophy is more than just intellectual douchebaggery. Heidegger on releasement, of course, not to be missed. Finding your peers. How do you find your peers? And of course, also Goethe should not be missed. So again, this is the intellectual life course. The 25% discount going now. The coupon code is in the description of this video if you're watching this later, but also in the chat here. Just use the coupon code Halkyon for what? For 25% off. And now I'm just going to go over some of the other courses. For example, speaking of the Faustian Pact, well, here's one. Goethe's Faust. Now, we're currently finishing up the course, but you can enroll in the self-study tier. So that gives you access to 8 lectures, and also this is a guided reading, but it's not just the course on Goethe's Faust. Hegel will be mentioned. Schelling is mentioned. We're discussing the nature of evil. So Augustine is in there. Aquinas is in there. And so is, of course, a bit of Schiller and Kant. Kant, of course, we have to have Kant in here on radical evil. So this is, if you're interested in Goethe's Faust and what it is, and I believe that it is the myth of how we become or became or have become or should become modern. That's what Goethe's Faust really is. So you're invited to join this course as well. Links to all courses are in the description of this video if you're watching this on YouTube. If not, then here is Goethe's Faust course. I'll be here another half hour. If you have any questions, let me know in the chat. So, which one's next? Plato. Oh, yes. So here's a course by Thomas Cochin, who's going to teach this course on the ancient wisdom of health. This is his course on Plato, on beauty and virtue. And here we're going to take you on a philosophical journey to explore the profound connections between aesthetic ideals and moral excellence as envisioned by Plato, no other than the founder of Western philosophy. Then a careful reading, as Thomas describes his course of Plato's work, reveals that beauty plays a sophisticated role in the metaphysical, ontological, epistemological, and ethical accounts for the Greek thinker. So, do sign up for this one if you're interested in Plato, not just specifically, not only on beauty and virtue, but what Thomas has done here is bring together some of the most important. You can see here also what one of the students said during the course. So, you're going to read the Greta Hippias, the Symposium, the Phaedrus, the Meno, the Cratylus, and the Parmenides dialogue, even the most difficult, perhaps, of all of Plato's dialogues. And if you are keen to understand the entire ontology of Plato, you have to understand the significance of beauty in his overall philosophy. All right. Next one. Martin Heidegger. Being in Time. This is again a course that I teach. If you scroll a bit further down, you can see that there are 8 lectures, that they are quite long, some of them. This one is 2 hours, this one is almost 2 hours. And we're going to go through the most important sections of Being in Time. There'll be guided reading. There are handouts that you can print out. So there are no written lectures, but there are handouts because you're already going to read a lot in Heidegger's Being in Time. And it'll guide you through the book in a way that it should open it up in its genuine scope and what the book really achieves and why it is such a fundamental work of philosophy in the 20th century and also going forward. Why is the title Being and Time? That's what many often forget. Being and Time. Sein und Zeit werden zusammengedacht. Being and time are being thought together. Yeah. And this is what the course also does. So we don't get lost all too much in pseudo-existentialist readings or anything like that, or any other nonsense. We go to the heart of the matter. And also, of course, what it is that Heidegger means by phenomenology, his understanding of logos, and what ecstatic temporality is. Not just any old time that's meant here, but time as ecstatic temporality, as originally finite, as what has been, pushing open that which is to come, future, Zukunft, generating a good presence. Yeah. So this course also 25% off now. This course is you can find here. Yeah. Again, if you have any questions on any of the courses that I'm going over here, just let me know and I'll try and respond. Now, if you want to understand Heidegger, you also have to understand Kant. So maybe take the Kant course first if you've never even read Kant. This one gives you an introduction to Kant's critical philosophy with a strong focus on the critique of pure reason, which one should not read as an epistemology, but as what it is, which is the revolution of the form of thought itself. Transcendental idealism revolutionizes how we think fundamentally. That is why Kant is so pivotal. So the course goes into that significant work and shows you exactly what to look out for in your reading so that you understand that revolution in thought that we still have to grapple with. Yeah, there are these cop outs that we just move back to Aquinas, also this silly new realism, etc. Doesn't work. Not after Kant. So we celebrated his 300th birthday last year with this course, and you can, or you may, at your own pace, go through these lectures, but we won't just be, so you can, I think you should be able to, yes, to hear the lectures. So there will be 6 lectures on the first critique. There will be 1 on the second critique, what the role of practical reason is and transcendent freedom. And there will be 1 on the third critique, the critique of judgment, on the sublime, where Kant, because he does realize that he has forgotten about nature just a bit too much, how the sublime pushes the subject back out again. And yeah, so I hope that you can join this course as well. As I've said before, there's 25% off all courses for only a couple of days. Now on to another wonderful course by the most honorable and by the most honorable Dr., or actually at this point, Professor Ryan Hecker. We just had a drop in the connection speed here, so I had to just make sure that everything's back up again. Of course, as I mentioned, spiritual cybernetics, this is a course on really on hyper reality, on Baudrillard and accelerationism. Yeah. So even if you don't feel yourself terribly spiritual, if you're interested in figures like Nick Land, Hegel, Martin Heidegger, Jünger, Jean Baudrillard, Marshall McLuhan, Gilles Deleuze, Mark Fisher, and Bernard Stiegler, and you want to learn from one of the really most fascinating minds out there, Dr. Ryan Hecker, who is at the University of Austin, then you should enroll in this course. So Ryan has put together this, I think, most outstanding course for us at Halkyon and taught the course a few years ago. And it's also quite popular still. So people do like to sign up to it because they're interested in what's going on in AI and how to make sense of the digital sphere. So the link to Ryan's course is right here, Spiritual Cybernetics. So if you're interested in accelerationism, Nick Land, Mark Fisher, etc., this course is for you. And speaking of technology, we shouldn't forget, of course, Heidegger again. So this is a more intense course on Heidegger. This will be a good introduction also to my next course on Heidegger on technology, which will be quite different from this one, because here we're focusing more or less, we do focus on technology, but also on what Heidegger sees almost coming out at the other end of technology, which is the fourfold. The next course will not focus on the fourfold. This one does. So if you're interested in reading The Question Concerning Technology, The Age of the World Picture, and also his writings on the fourfold, which you find in The Thing and Building, Dwelling, Thinking, as well as What Are Poets For. So this one is, let's say, a bit hopeful. The one this fall will be a bit gloomier. So we'll read the Black Notebooks and a few other things from the contributions, and of course also the his understanding. Well, Heidegger's genuine, as he said, basically the impossibility of dialogue between different languages, and something that, of course, the merchants of AI, and they are just merchants. This is why you can't. I mean, you shouldn't not take it seriously, but for the most part, it's a PR campaign made either to bewitch you all the time, but also um, either to bewitch you in the sense that you believe that AGI really is already here and so it has emotions, or to bewitch you to believe, oh, this makes us more human, whatever that's supposed to mean. We wage more wars, or to make you afraid. Yeah, there's a massive PR campaign on the way, and has been for 2.5 years. I mean, the outcome is what? Very bad text and video slop. Okay. If that's worth destroying the environment over, fine. But it should raise some questions. Who are the people involved? Because it's something that we should always never forget. This isn't just happening. Yeah. There are people involved in this, and they have an agenda. Yeah. So, and Heidegger is very clear on this. Heidegger does not just believe that being is doing everything. There are decisions that are being made. So if you want to know more about Heidegger and how he understood technology and how there can be a free relationship with technology, yeah, then this course is for you. Heidegger on technocracy. I'm going to give you a more than full introduction to Heidegger's writings in a way that you'll not find anywhere else. Also because I always go over the original German text, and in the Greek, I go over the original Greek, and will provide you with translations that you will not have heard before. For example, das Wesen der Technik is not the essence of technology. Das Wesen der Technik is the realm of technics, the realm that technics spans open, so that, and this is what Gestell is, which is constellation, so that beings appear as being and beings, a logical difference, appear as Bestand, standing ready for use. He's not looking for the essence of technology, as he explicitly says in the question concerning die Frage nach der Technik, this essay that's been terribly mistranslated, as always, of course. Because you don't even need AI to have dumb translations. Yeah, you just need dumb translators. Then you have dumb translations. And AI just intensifies the stupidity, because people want correctness. They want correct translations that they can look up in a glossary. Oh, is this correct? Is this what this means? That's why. Okay, so German idealism. Of course, no Heidegger without German idealism. No Nietzsche without German idealism. 6 lectures on Kant, Hegel, Schelling, Hölderlin, and who's missing here? Fichte. He didn't fit in. So no Fichte up here, but that's okay. But Fichte, there's a lecture on Fichte. So you'll find a little. We're going to discuss human freedom, transcendental idealism, nature, spirit, the absolute idea, and of course also the limits of Kant and Fichte, and how Hölderlin, Hegel, and Schelling, in their own ways, continue the project that starts with Kant. If you have any questions, do let me know. And I just mention this again. You can see it also down here on the left. There's a coupon code right now, 25% off. Just use the coupon Halkyon at the checkout. And I'm glad to see that someone just signed up for the Intellectual Life course, which I mentioned right in the beginning. So thank you very much for that. And now, last but not least, good old Plato, the Politeia, the Republic. This is a 10-week masterclass. Again, now you can see me here sitting on a balcony with the Acropolis behind me. So I flew to Athens and recorded the lectures during the day and also at night. With a view of the Acropolis, I walked around Aristotle's Lyceum. I recorded one of the lectures actually also in Delphi. The final one, the lecture on the myth of air on book 10 was recorded in Delphi. So 10 lectures, and there will be lecture transcripts that you can download as well. So there's written lectures for this one. This will be turned into a book at some point. And yeah, so we're going to go over what Plato really means by justice, dikaiosune. Yeah, how it comes about, what it is that what's the task of the human being in this? What's really the cosmic task of the human being? How are philosopher kings to be educated? What are they? Who are they? And of course, the theory of the soul, the theory of forms, so called, which will not be the usual theory of form. So I do not believe that Plato believed in the two-world paradigm. What are the three castes? What are the analogies of the sun and the lion, the myth of the cave, and of course also the anacyclosis of the forms of government, the significance of beauty again, the idea of the good, and the vision of earth. If you want to have an introduction to not only Plato's Politeia, but also to Plato himself more fully, not Platonism, but Plato's way of thinking, how he tries to save the phenomena, how he tries to save the ephemeral phenomena and find some sort of way of articulating what is not so much even ultimate reality, but what is insofar as it is. For example, let's just use by the example of dikaiosune. Dikaiosune you can translate as justice, that's fair enough. Or perhaps also as the coming about of appropriateness. So there is development, there is becoming in Plato. There's a coming and becoming towards the eidos, the form that shows up, let's say, or the concept that shows up in our understanding, which is to some degree dialogical and, of course, also dialectical, but also, of course, presenting itself. But that it's a dialogue should also give you a hint that we're not only dealing with eternal, let's say, forms that are always already the ever same, but that present themselves differently or indifference in the finite. Which is why there is history, as Plato explicitly describes in the Politeia. And it will take almost 2,000 years until Giambattista Vico in Napoli, a forgotten thinker, in the Scienza Nuova, the new science, picks up on what it was that Plato saw in history. So this course is on Plato's Politeia. We're going to go over the entire book. All right. So I'll just mention this again. If you head over to the Halkyon website now and you use the coupon code Halkyon on any course, you get 25% off, but only for a couple of days. It's now Saturday. The coupon goes extinct. No, the coupon will expire in, I think, 48 hours. So you have to act now. Any course that you see, not just the course I introduced today. So take Thomas's course on Plato. Take Ryan's course on spiritual cybernetics, or maybe my course on Heidegger or Plato, etc. Thank you very much. And after that, feel yourself, which you will be, a patron of the arts. Thank you very much for listening and spread the word. Thank you.